I always get a few questioning looks when I say to people that they should focus less on self esteem and confidence and instead switch their focus to building self awareness and self acceptance. And I suppose because self esteem and confidence are so associated with achieving your ambitions and living a successful life, people assume that's what they should be aiming for. And yet, therein the problem lies because, again, if you're building something on the basis that it will help you attain or achieve or acquire X, Y, or Z, you're again basing your worth on external circumstances. You're saying that you're somehow measurable by what you do or the way in which you show up to the world. And consequently, this just means that at any given moment, the rug can be pulled out from under your feet because you're basing all of your worth on something that's very conditional, as opposed to self acceptance, where you're accepting who you are in any given moment. You're accepting what life is in any given moment. And this doesn't necessarily mean that, you kind of have to think of yourself in the most positive terms ever, or that life has to be necessarily going well, because that's just not how life is. And again, that's where the concept of radical acceptance comes in. It's been able to accept things no matter what they are, because the reality is they are your reality. Doesn't mean either that you don't change things or that you don't try to improve circumstances, but it just means that you're not always fighting against what the current truth is. And as I said, when we look at self-esteem and when we look at confidence, we're very much forward thinking. We're very much, okay, I'm not here, I'm there. Whereas self-acceptance is very much in the moment. I am where I am right now, and all I can do is make decisions that will propel me forward. And I suppose it's kind of, again, similar to this whole idea of affirmations. I find people really don't benefit all that much from affirmations if they are struggling with self-acceptance. They only tend to work for people who already believe what it is that they're telling themselves. And so I'm very wary about advising people to put these glorious positive affirmations in place. Instead, I like them to focus on what they already believe to be true. So paying attention to the parts of themselves that they like, or the parts of their lives that they like and that they're happy with, and building on that, as opposed to creating this fictional story in their head that underneath it all they don't actually believe. Again, it's about kind of having a very pragmatic, realistic view to your life, because I think no matter what we do, we're still tied into this idea that our life has to be extraordinary. It has to be amazing in order for us to feel content. And we chase happiness and we chase all of these achievements and we chase people's approval. And it gets us nowhere. And I suppose I know of a lot of people who have been on so many courses for their self-esteem and for confidence, and they come away and they feel good for kind of a certain period of time. But then as soon as something difficult happens in their life, kind of the rug is pulled out from under their feet, quite literally, because they haven't focused on the resilience that comes with building self-acceptance, acceptance of kind of your life and your acceptance of who you actually are. And this is why when I'm working with people, I tend to focus a little bit more on their reality, on building that resiliency, building the ability to communicate well, building the ability to understand your own emotional experience, understand what it is that triggers you, understand your past experiences and the way that they're impacting on your ability to accept your reality and to see things in perspective and to see things in context and to see things as they actually are, and to make peace with that. Because I think we all have this idea that we need to be successful, and like, unfortunately, kind of social media is really exacerbating that problem. We're just bombarded all the time with this idea that our lives aren't sufficient as they are, that we're somehow inadequate, and whether we like it or not, it's that's the message that we're getting. We may say that we're not, but we're continuously being influenced. And I think a lot of people fear that if they're not confident or if they don't work on their self-esteem, that they're not going to achieve what it is that they need to achieve in life, that they're not going to reach their potential. However, the thing is, when you're more accepting of what is, and when you're more self-aware, you will be more drawn to the trajectory that was always there for you. I think we tend to be very influenced in our choices of what we chase and what we dream of by external circumstances and by what we think other people are going to approve of. Whereas when we don't worry about what other people are going to approve of, we can tap into our own intuition. We can tap into our own internal essence and find what it is that fills us with joy. Not what other people will think is amazing, what it is that just makes us feel really, really good in ourselves. And it could be something so simplistic. I mean, again, this idea that it has to be outrageous, it has to be glamorous, it has to be something that you can post about and that will reward you with like 100 likes or whatever on your social media feed. This should be something that gives you such a sense of joy that you don't feel a need to post about it, because it's just fulfilling and satisfying. And I suppose that's what I want to get people to. You know, it's this kind of two-tier approach of dealing with the past that's holding you back and then finding acceptance for your current reality so that you can explore who it is that you're actually meant to be. You can tap into that authentic self and you can live the life that you were always destined to. If you're interested in working with me, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie. You'll see lots of content similar to this on my YouTube channel, which is Fiona Feely. Go check it out. I'd appreciate a like and a share as well. If you want to subscribe as well, I'd be more than appreciative. And I do a regular podcast with Neil O'Brien, who's an amazing life coach. It's called Touchy and Feely. It's available on iTunes and Spotify. Go check it out. I hope everyone has an amazing day.